wonderful. Hey, Photo World, welcome to the webinar, the live broadcast here on Talk Pics. Can everybody hear me okay? You can tap the screen for some hearts to let me know that things are going good. If you tap your screen there, let me know. Awesome, you can hear it, cool. Thank you so much. Wonderful. I'm going to give a few minutes just to let some people log in here and see if we can get it kicked off here in just a couple minutes. But cool. In the meantime, where are people from? Go ahead and type it in there for us and let us know where people are at. Yo, all right, that makes more sense. Thank you. Very cool. This is Rob Kruger with TalkPics.com Photography Podcast, and we're doing the first ever live broadcast webinar. So we're really pumped about having people here, and let's give it just a couple more minutes. We got 5 people, and I think the response was about a dozen. So we'll see who we have, and I'm pumped. So awesome, Chicago representing hometown. Thank you. Very cool. Is that it? We only got Chicago out there? Very cool. In the meantime, while we're waiting, this back here, that's my reminder. This is the motivation that keeps me going. That's actually a little wave file of my first interview. That was episode 001 with Andrea Raditoyu. And yeah, I pulled that into Photoshop, did a few color cool things, and printed it, put it up on the wall. So that way I see it every time. Keep pumped to keep this up and keep it going for you guys. So let's get it started. First off, hey Photo World, awesome, we're here. We did it, the first ever Talk Pics Photography Podcast webinar with a live broadcast, and I'm really excited you guys are here. I got a few things I'd like to go over with you just to get it kicked off and share some information. I don't want to leave you hanging here that we're just, a webinar usually results in some sort of sales or something. But not today. I got nothing to sell to you, but I do have a special announcement, and along those lines, it is something to offer, but it will be 100% free for you to utilize as you would like, and I'm really excited about it. I'm super pumped, so stay to the end, get that announcement, that new update, the big changes here at Talk Pics. We are snowballing over and over, just going crazy with one thing after another, big changes, and I'm really excited about it. But it's about photography, and I am still a photographer, so I do end up working about 65 hours a week, I've calculated, between the two of the podcast and the photography business. And that's a little ambitious, but it's not really unrealistic. If I really want to push both things, then I got to keep on top of both of them and really move forward with it. So with this podcast and with my photography business, it doesn't matter. I want traffic. I want people at my sites, and I want customers in some way, right? I want listeners for the podcast, and I want clients for my photography. So you probably want the same thing with your business and your photography to, move forward and grow your business and get more customers. And with that in mind, there are a few ways to drive traffic to you. So 3 major websites that we utilize pretty much every day, and just about all of us do it. And these sites are all about driving traffic. They are the 3 most visited sites in the world that we can calculate it all. And seriously, one of them you kind of almost forget as a website because you think of it as the basis for the internet, and that is Google.com. Yeah, it's still a website, people, and it's the #1. They have the highest ranking, the highest traffic, and you can utilize Google to drive traffic to your business and your photography. There's a lot of different ways to do so, and we'll get there. But let me get to that second site. It's the one we use every day. It's on our phone 24/7, and we're always posting the most interesting things that are happening. Yeah, that's right, Facebook. And Facebook is great. There's a lot of good information. I've also seen a lot of bad information, and you kind of get stuck looking through all of it on Facebook, and one thing after another, and you don't really know if it's worthwhile. But what you can do is use it for your photography, for your business, and drive traffic to you. It's really hard to get people off that news feed and find you instead, because we're so in tune to use Facebook as our day-to-day and get information from our friends and family around the world, and keep moving forward with what's going on in their lives and share what's going on in ours. So third on my list of different things that can help drive traffic, it is where I'm going to post this immediately following the webinar, the broadcast here. A few more people joined in. Hello, thank you. Hi, Photo World. This third one that we're going to utilize, this broadcast is being recorded right now and will go live in a few hours. Not live, I guess. It'll be recorded, but it'll be up in a few hours on the website and on YouTube, right? That's the video sharing capital of the world. It is the #2 search engine available to us. And how many times we get lost just sitting there looking at useless videos over and over. But in the meantime, you can actually search for useful information and help drive traffic back to you. And that's what this is all about. Just trying to find these 3 different strategies, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, that can drive traffic back to you. I'm going to start with Facebook because I think it's the easiest and it's the one that we're most used to on a day-to-day basis. And sorry, I'm looking at notes and watching time. I want to make sure I don't keep you here too long. We're kind of sticking it around 30 minutes. But Facebook, using that, you have to play with your viewers. You have to be trivial like this little game of just getting people excited in a very short phrase, in a very short time, and then wanting to move forward to see the rest of what's happening. And that's teasing them, but it's the only way to really pull them off of Facebook and get away from that addiction of the news feed and finding out what's going on and what else people are eating every day. I don't know what people are sharing. It's crazy. But you want to move them to your site. So looking at Facebook, you browse through, and as readers, as customers, as people in this world who utilize Facebook on a day-to-day basis, what do? We see something, we make a decision almost instantly about it, whether we want to engage further with that statement, that post, that video, that whatever, or we just want to quit and move on to the next thing down the newsfeed. So how do we engage people? How do we get people to move off of Facebook and find you? You got to play with them. You got to tease them and give it a headline. Create a title, something that's going to drive them to your website that's interesting. Maybe you did a family portrait and it went beautifully and it was wonderful and it was simple. Impressions are powerful. True that, true that. So you want to get people excited about it. And creating a title like family portrait, little girl goes to, and, leave it hanging. What happens next? Kind of, what is it? She goes near the water and sits down and it was a beautiful picture. It could be that simple. Or she went near the water and tried to skip some rocks and kind of fell in and nobody got hurt. But, it could be anything. But you can twist anything to sound like something else might have happened. And it's just enough to pull people off of Facebook, get them on your website and read through the post, or maybe not. But the thing is, it's the best we can do, and you have to play those games. It's kind of ridiculous, but it is effective. And it's free. That's another thing. We can post a picture and people will see it and go, oh, that's great, and move on. It's instantly over. So I think if you kind of push them to your site in the way of teasing them, thinking one thing and they get there and it might be another, then you're going to do fine in driving traffic that way. Now they found a new place to browse and they're going to skip around your site and look at pictures and other blog posts and things of that nature. So they're forgetting about Facebook just for a second, but they'll be back there tomorrow. So post again. You have to keep up that repetition. It can't happen all in one time. This next one, Google. It is the largest search engine. It is my homepage on just about every device I have. And I want to make sure that I can access Google almost instantly. I use Gmail accounts for everything. And if I didn't have Google Drive, I'd probably go insane. It is so helpful to have that instant online backup of Word docs and Excel sheets and different things of that nature. And I love Google for that reason. Sorry, I'm talking myself a little dry here. So with Google, how do we get Google to start seeing our site? Well, it operates very simply, and it's just a big math problem, but it's a little bit more in depth once we get into it. But simply put, Google operates on content plus time to equal results, and that's all they work off of. So you throw up content, over time it's going to become more and more relevant to Google, which will yield results for searches. But you have to have relative content to a search. So I'm a wedding photographer. That's my first and foremost front of my business here. And when I'm doing wedding photography, I'd love to just be Chicago wedding photographer Rob Kruger. So if I put that into a blog post that I'm a Chicago wedding photographer, when people are searching for Chicago wedding photographer, they're going to find a few things. One, Google's going to access domain names first. And ChicagoWeddingPhotographer.com is owned by a guy named Harold Crane. He's been in the business for 30 plus years. He's a wedding photographer, in the northwest burbs of Chicago. And he was smart to grab that in the 90s to make it his URL and his website name. And when you type in Chicago Wedding Photographer, you're going to see his site just about first, past the paid advertisements, of course. You're going to see his first because it's the URL. It's the first thing we look at. And the first tag to every website is the title and URL name of that website. So he's got it made. When we go into our blogs, we want to tag it up and put in the metadata and background keywords and things of that nature on our pictures and in the post itself. That's SEO, right? Search engine optimization. So you want to not overload your publication, your post, your blog, whatever. You don't want to overload it, because if you overdo it, it's going to be viewed as some sort of spam, just trying to cater to these things, and it's not real content. It's just garbage and tags after a while. So you want to tag things, but you want to have relevant content involved as well. So if I'm a wedding photographer, I'd like to make sure I know it's a wedding photography, it was Chicago based, and label those things maybe separately throughout the post and say who it is. Often we see these blog posts from photographers. There's pictures, there's a little blurb about who or what they're photographing and maybe where. And it's so little, there's so little words involved. When you're doing a blog post, Google's analyzing quite a few things. They're looking at the words written on the page. They're looking at the tags and keywords in the background for your SEO. They're going to be accessing the pictures for Google Images, but also for the web search that will be relevant to a specific type in search. So those pictures can be named, or renamed rather, to a relevant search. I always have in all of my pictures Rob Kruger Photography, wedding photography, and any other genre that I might be doing, especially wedding photography. It's my number one. But if I'm doing commercial work, I always put commercial photography in there, or corporate work, things of that nature. And you have to title them that way. When you post it, you end up getting a little bit of a ping back from Google, or you're giving a ping back to Google rather, where it says, I'm relevant to this search of wedding photography. I see this picture, I see these posts, I see these many words that all kind of relate to wedding photography over and over and over again. And that over and over again is time. All right, I have a friend who created a blog about 1.5 years ago, and she was doing all this paid marketing, and it wasn't panning out very well. But her blog, she would write extensively, not overwhelming, but 300 or so words for a post, saying something about the shoot, saying something about her photography. So it's hitting a few different areas, whether it be clients or for the people who are going to be trying to become photographers or working on being photographers, and they end up learning something too. And about 1 year after starting her blog and being very, very diligent about it, every other day about kind of keeping up on putting up a post or two, she started seeing that most of her clients found her organically through Google search, because all of her blog was dedicated to being found through Google. Yeah, it took 1.5 years, but she doesn't pay for marketing whatsoever anymore, and she's in a 6-figure business. So I think it's worth saying that if you take on the time to put up content that is relevant, and you do it over a long period of time and very regularly, then you're going to be fine. You're going to yield some results. So that's Google in a nutshell. Oh my goodness, hardly. There's so many things there, but there's a little piece of it. This third one, YouTube. Same kind of thing. It's a search engine. You know, that title is going to be kind of like the URL. It's got to be really hitting on the keywords of what people are going to be typing in, searching for. And then content is king. Amen. Look at that. Always content is king, because we can have post after post after post of garbage. And if it doesn't mean anything, then even Google knows the difference and won't care. So, you know, you have to keep that content up. And your videos for YouTube are going to be another avenue for that. But there's some background stuff for the videos on YouTube. You can tag it up. You can fill out the description, which I highly recommend, because if you have a lot more information in your description, then you're going to do a lot better in offering more content to your potential viewers. Now, you want to make sure they can find you. So at the end of your videos, you can either add in additional videos they can look at, subscribe button, a link to your website up there, so they can just find you and move forward with your content, your information, and your business and work as photographers, as business owners. You have to keep pushing it, and you can do so with YouTube. This is going up on YouTube just after we're done broadcasting live here. So it's gonna be good. And you know, I don't really want to bog you down with Facebook and Google and YouTube and all these different things that you can do, but they're all shareable. You know, you have your photography page, you have your website, you have your blog, you have your Twitter account, you have Instagram and all these other things. You can share off of any of these formats what you're producing on your own and get it out on different avenues and kind of spread that web out a little bit further to see what else you can catch. And I think it's a good idea to remember that the content plus time, the time is huge, because I've been going 3 days a week with the podcast and keeping up on it very regularly. And I've been doing a few blog posts here and there. I want to do more. But, you know, even in that short time between April and now, I'm only at about 11,000 downloads, which is actually a good milestone mark. Those 10,000 downloads mark is a big deal for a podcast. But I'm only at about 11,000 here. Sorry, reading here. True. Good point. Thank you, Charles. Yeah, not just you sharing it, your friends and family can too. And that's a good network to start, along with your other photo network, because we're all friends, right? You know, you got to get to know each other on Facebook and things. And there's plenty of photographers who say, no, this is my job and that's it. And if they can't do it, they just say, sorry, I'm unavailable. I'm busy. Me, I pass them off every time. I can't hold on to it. So why take on that client now? I mean, it's like, it's not worth it. If I'm not available for a wedding, I'd rather give it to a friend of mine who is available for that wedding, and they can take it for themselves. I'm not asking for a retainer. I'm not asking for any favors back. But what does happen pretty naturally is when they're busy, they know exactly who to recommend. And it's extremely helpful to have that network and that base to move forward with everything. Do we have any questions out there? I know we got a few people logged in. I'm really excited we're here and so pumped that Photo World tuned in. Do we have any questions that you guys want to throw at me in the midst of all this here? Even if it's about me or my business. No questions. Awesome. It's fine. If you got them, pop them up. We'll take a second to read it. But really what I'm getting at with all of this is content key. Don't compete. Collaborate. I love it. Work together, not against. It's like a tug of war game. You know, you're on the two different sides and you guys keep pulling. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But if you're all on one side, it'd be easy as pie, right? So with the blog stuff, I actually went a little bit more in depth on this in case we had time, because I really wanted to share a little bit about it. Let me find my notes. Ta-da. Up here. Awesome. So, man, I wrote way too many notes. The blog stuff. It sounds simple, right? But most people don't know what's involved in keeping up on a blog, and it's extremely difficult. I think I've started maybe 6 or 7 blogs in my 6 years as a photographer, and as far as my photography goes, very little content has come out of that. The blog end of things for my world is now the Talk Pics podcast and blog, and I think the podcast with the show notes is kind of coming up just as regularly as a blog can. I would argue that photographers have one of the most difficult times maintaining a blog successfully, and it's because they're image-based. Same with videographers. They're all about just the visual content, and that's fine. It's great, and people need to see it to know what you're capable of or know what you're up to and what you're doing. But what happens is we get a little lost in the pictures, and we get a little less content involved. And yes, you can title those pictures, and it's going to do a little bit more for you, and you can do the SEO in the background. That's going to help as well. But when you're doing a blog, you need the information. And I've kind of broken it down to a couple key points here as far as the blog. One, the length. You cannot really go too short. You're going to lose a lot of people because you don't have enough useful information for them to be engaging with. It's going to be over very quickly for them. They're going to move on very fast. Or you have the other side of that. It's too much. It can be intimidating to go to a blog post that you might be interested in reading, and then you see it's like 3 pages long, and you're looking at it. You know what? I don't got time to do this on my lunch break, so forget it. I'm out of here. So they're going to find the information somewhere else, because the truth is all the information that people are looking for exists out there somewhere. It's just a matter of how you're going to find it. So if you're going to be the resource for somebody, even if it's just talking about your photography and what you did there and sharing that little bit with any other photographer or any family that can, or client, sorry, not just family portraits, there's so many others. Any client that you might have, they get the education from you. You're a valuable resource for them. So offer that to them. Don't overwhelm them, and don't undersell yourself with how much you can say. So you have to find a nice middle ground. And I've been told by other bloggers who make their profession out of it that 300 words is a really safe number. If you go over that, people get tired and they want to move on. If you're under that, there's not enough to be engaged with, and they're kind of done quickly. They might even skip over it because it's so little. So 300 words is a really nice tip that I was taught by someone else, and I've been sticking to that pretty tightly. Some days I get a little carried away because I cannot stop talking. You've heard my podcast. So, I don't shut up too much. But when we're going through the blog here, you have those things that matter. The pictures. Oh, a lot of hearts for my I can't shut up. Thank you. Awesome. Very good and true. So pictures matter. Yes. Video matters. That's additional content, and it's easier than reading, right? So if you can make those videos, you put them on YouTube, you put them on your blog, and you end up sharing the content quickly. If people can't watch it, they throw in some headphones at work and they hear what you have to say, because it's valuable information, and they have a few different formats on how they can actually access it now. You're double dipping there too. You put it on YouTube and your blog. That's awesome. You have two resources traveling to the same destination for your customers, for your clients, and for your network, because all of it kind of comes together in ultimately building the business. All right. You got to know that blogging is not instantaneous. I said time with Google, right? Well, that's what blogging is about. It's that time. It may be analyzing it constantly and finding what's going to work, what's not going to work. And it's going to it's going to find and sort out what's relevant for its customers. Anybody who's typing in Google, searching, Googling it, right? That little verb we're all using now. If you're Googling something, you are going to be looking for a resource on it. And Google doesn't care if it was just posted yesterday. It cares if it was posted yesterday and 48,000 more times before that, because those repetitive content builders out there, those are the ones that are driving the traffic. And you have to do the same thing. So implement it into a system. I mean, we say it on the show all the time. You got to find a system that works. And I'm going to tell you a couple little things that are going to help you do it. 10 minutes a day, one right there. It doesn't matter if you spend 10 minutes a day or 10 hours a day. If I had my way, I'd spend 10 hours a day on it, because I just want content after content up there available for anybody at any time. But the truth is we don't have that. But if you put in 10 minutes a day into a blog post and work on it the next day for 10 minutes and the next day, that's a half hour put into a post, and it's possible to be done in that half hour quite easily. Right? You can do it on the go with your phone. Just write out your notes into a Google Docs and then transcribe it over into a WordPress blog site or wherever you're putting out your information. It's very quick to make in a short time. And if you're doing one blog post a week, that would be fantastic. If you're doing one a month, you got to be realistic. That's 12 a year. Are you going to build enough content in 12 a year? Probably not. But 52 for that yearly, going one a week, that's pretty good content building. Any more than that is just butter. I mean, that's awesome. You're going to do really well getting more content out there over time. And if you only have 10 minutes a day, start using it. You won't see results. I'm going to guarantee you will not see results within the first 6 weeks. But don't get discouraged. You just keep going, because it's only 10 minutes, right? It's just a little bit at a time. So you put that into it, and you get something out of it over time. You become relevant. So, I mean, that's blogging. My goodness, there's so much to the space of traffic building, let alone the options out there for it. And I'm not an expert. I'm going to just be clear about that. I am no expert in this. It's just the things that I know about that I'm trying to utilize and do my best with and share with you, Photo World, because, hey, we're in it together. I'm a photographer, so are you, and we're trying to make it happen. And in the end, it's a business at the end of the day. So you may as well help each other out and get some information out there. Before we go, a couple little things. If you have any questions, toss them up here, because I'd really love for you to be engaged with this conversation and be a part of it. If you can't or aren't able in a place to write questions, maybe you're listening to this at work, I don't know, then, that's fine. But the other thing is the huge announcement, this big one. Oh my gosh, I've been hyping it up with the emails to you, just kind of saying, hey, there's something happening. You got to tune in. And you know what? There's 5 of you here to be a part of it and learn at this. And it'll be kind of announced on the show as we go here for the next few weeks. But I'm going to be hosting a workshop. And I want to be really, really helpful and give a lot of information. I'm going to be doing a workshop for you, Photo World. And with this workshop, I don't want you to pay a dime. It's going to be free. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to get a few models, hairstylists, makeup artists. I'm going to have them all ready to go. We're going to meet at a location, which I still have to decide. But we're going to meet somewhere, and we're going to just do pictures and learn on off-camera lighting and on location lighting. So I want to kind of discuss the options you have when you go somewhere to take pictures, because that on-camera flash or the natural light, those are great, but I think we can do more, and I think we can do better. So I'm hosting a workshop. This is going to be so amazing. I'm really pumped. And actually, the workshop date is going to be October 3rd. It is a Saturday, October 3rd, and we're going to do this in the afternoon of October 3rd. And I really hope you can join us. To make sure you can register for the workshop, and I need people to register so they can get all the information and be there. You go to takingtalkpics.com. I got the workshop tab up there now, and you can click to register. It'll be the same kind of thing like the webinar. Just enter your email and get ready to go. Keep it, mark it in your calendars, October 3rd, and it will be in the afternoon of October 3rd. I do have the times broken down, but I want you to register before you get all the information, and we can move forward together, growing and crushing it. I've just realized, I've been realizing this. I love the podcast. I love interviewing photographers. I love the Monday Message. And now we're going to be starting this Friday, the first official Fundamental Friday. And I'm really pumped about it. The show's really developing into a really cool podcast and a really good resource for photographers. And I'm getting awesome feedback. And people tuned in today is a huge hit for me. I'm loving it for the first ever webinar here, takingtalkpics.com. And I just want to tell you guys, the workshop's going to be awesome, but the podcast is inspired by my teaching. And I think that's why I need to do these workshops, is because I'm an educator. Yeah, I'm a photographer, but I have found over the years of just my part-time jobs growing up into my schooling and moving forward and teaching at the College of DuPage out in Glen Ellen, Illinois. And yes, they have online classes, right? So I've just learned to love teaching. It's so amazing, and bringing information to those who want to learn, especially of a format I'm really excited about and really passionate about, and a medium I love, photography. I mean, my goodness, I couldn't live without it. And, it's just time I get to a more one-on-one basis with people and do these workshops. This first one is free. I don't expect that to be the case forever, but this first one is free, and I just want to get people there. I want to have people hang out and have a good time, make great pictures, hang out a bit, meet me personally, and yeah, that's cool. Let me walk through a couple last notes here. Let me read up on them, because I don't want to leave you hanging if I got anything else. October 3rd workshop, what up? I think that's it. You register for that workshop on takingtalkpics.com. Again, this entire broadcast will be live on the website and on YouTube, takingtalkpics.com, under the webinar tab. Awesome. Thank you. Love having you guys here listening. We're going to have the whole broadcast ready for you on takingtalkpics.com. We're just about at that 30-minute mark. And I just want to say thank you so much, Photo World, for joining me today, being a part of the first ever Take and Talk Pics photography podcast live broadcast webinar. I really worked on saying that a few times. Be sure to register for that October 3rd free, yes, 100% free workshop with me live in person. And yeah, take it easy. Happy shooting. Thank you so much, Photo World. We'll see you.